Okay, so it's Paul from futuremusicproducer.com. 3 nice items landed on the doorstep today. We've got a Roland TR-8, an MX1 and a TB3. We've got them set up on the desk here. The MX1 is acting as the central controller. We've got the TR-8 connected up into that on one of the channels. We've got the TB3 into another channel. But today I'm going to be focusing just on the TR-8. I've used this device previously, so I've got a bit of experience with it, and I've also used the classic 808 and 909 as well, so I've got a bit of history, and I can compare the two, the TR-8 against the classic 808 and the 909. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to dive straight in. I'm going to get a simple pattern going. I'm going to see what the bass drum sounds like in comparison to the old classic machines, and just have a little fiddle really, and a little play, and just see what happens. So I'm going to go into the TR rec mode. I'm going to select my instrument that I want to record. I'm going to press start on the MX1 to get the sequencer going. Simple 16 steps. Selected the bass drum, so let's just get a simple 4/4 going. 808 bass drum. Sounds pretty nice to me. Got a bit of compression on that. You get a compressor on the bass drum and also on the snare, which is nice. So compressor off, attack down. Bit of a traditional, more 808 sound. Let's stick the attack up a little bit, give it a bit of definition. Get the compressor up. Sounds very good. Quite close to the original. The original had a little bit more character, but that's purely down to the pure analog circuitry that it had. Every 808 was different back in the day. You can never find two the same. I think it's difficult to accurately model a particular sound. So we'll get the snare drum going, just nice and simple. A little bit of shuffle on there, just give it a bit of character. That's the 909 ride. So what we're doing now is we're combining 808 and 909 sounds. We can go to the instrument play mode. We can press mute, hold it down, and we can mute individual sounds. Mute the bass drum, mute the snare, mute the ride. Nice and easy. You can also mute with the volume controls. Nice addition. You don't get these on the originals. Quite short throw. Still a good addition. Just play around with that a little bit. You can select different patterns. This is just obviously a very simple one I've just recorded now. Some of the presets. Get the idea. Just stop that for a sec. So you get a nice choice of electronic hip hop style patterns, techno, house, all that kind of thing. You can also choose different kits, combining 909 and 808 drums. So if I get my pattern going again, you can go to kit select. This is the same pattern, just with a mixture of 808 and 909 sounds. Again, these are all presets built into the machine. See, there's some real punchy sounds in there. It's quite a nice one. my original. You can also select different instruments per track. So we've got the bass drum, we've got an 808 now, we can switch to a 909 very easily. Back to the 808, same with the snare drum. 909 snare drum, 808. We've got a 909 ride going on. And we can switch it back to an 808. More of a conga type sound. So back to T-Rack mode. And click the bass drum. If you hold down the bass drum button and also press on a step, you can add a half step. Slightly dimmer light signifies a half step. Adds a bit more character throughout the pattern. We've also got accents. Press the accent button again. You add these to the steps. You'll be able to hear an accent there on the rides. Stick one on the drum. Let those on for a second. We've got reverb and delay. So again, we add these on the step sequencer. So it's reverb per step, not per instrument. So if we stick a reverb on 5 and 13, that's a nice bit of character. We can do the same with the delay. Let's put the delay on 1, 9. Nice bit of skipping there going on. Play the levels, the feedback, the time. Doesn't actually sound that good to be fair. Take that off. Maybe if I stick one on 13 it'll sound a little bit better. There we go, more recognisable delay sound. How useful that'll be, I don't know. Mute. I'll bring a bit of 303 in just for good measure. One thing I'm not a big fan of is the scatter function. Scatter comes on all of the Aira machines. I personally think it's a bit of a gimmick. Not something I'm a big fan of, to be honest. I'm sure there's some people out there that get use out of it, but I think it's a bit of a novelty. Just play around with some of the presets on there. Sounds a mess to me. You can play with the different depths. Nah, it didn't work for me now. What is that? Nah, leave that one. Maybe they've tried to add a few too many features, but I could do without the scatter, to be honest. You've also got like the A and B mode, similar to the traditional 808, where you can program a pattern in A. You can also program a pattern in B. So let's quickly do that. Put some drums on there. Get the rides on there again. We'll also throw in some closed hats as well, just for good measure. And we'll put a rim shot on 60. And if we then press A and B at the same time, we go between pattern A and pattern B. We're essentially extending the sequence to a 32-step sequence. Alternatively, you can play just A and then flip to B whenever you like. Gives you a bit of variation if you're using the machine live. Very brief overview there, I mean, but it's looks like a good bit of kit to me. I've had previous experience with this, you know, tried before I bought it. More tactile than programming drums in the DAW. I mean, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm just going to take that 303 out a little bit. I'm just going to get it back to a basic pattern. Take that out. I've got the MX1 controlling the tempo on both the TR-8 and the 303, TB3 I should say. So everything's synced up perfectly, you know, nothing goes out of sync. If it does, you just press the sync button on the MX1, it pulls everything back together, but I've never had to do that. But yeah, all in all, a fun bit of kit. I'm looking forward to playing with this a little bit more. I'll talk about the MX1 in a future video, and also the TB3. I've also got a VT1 on the way, or is it a VT3, the voice transformer. And I've also got a sync box on the way as well, which I'm quite looking forward to, because I can then connect my modular up to all of this stuff as well. I'm trying to get away from programming things into a DAW, which I'm starting to get a little bit sick of now. I want more tactile, hands-on control with the, you know, the knobs and the faders and the step sequencer. I think this is going to pull me away from the PC a little bit, which I'm quite happy about. So, you know, great bit of kit, build quality. You know, it's got a nice aluminium front panel. Rest of it is all plastic casing. I don't think it'd take much stick, you know, out on the road. I think you're going to need a good case for it, or a good gig bag. I wouldn't trust taking it out on the road personally. Mine's going to stay in the studio. Definitely not as well built as the originals, but it's the same with any bit of gear now. A lot of it is plastic casing. Seems to be the way things are now. Yeah, I'd recommend it. I mean, for the price, it's great. As I say, it takes you away from your DAW and controlling and programming drums in the computer. It's just, you don't get the same feel. This takes you back to the early 90s, late 80s way of making music, and I like that. So yeah, thoroughly recommended. And I'll be doing another video on the MX1 soon, like I say, and also the TB303, or TB3 I should say.